Hello everyone, my name is Jimmy and welcome to the last lap. And the announcement finally happened that everybody's been waiting for. Kyle Busch, where he will be next season. But before we hop into all the details of that, just want to remind you guys to hit that like button and subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. And you can also check out our social media channels, which are linked in the description. But let's go ahead and hop into it and introduce the man of the hour, Matthew, the Kyle Busch fan, all dripped out in his rowdy gear. He's got his crying towel ready. But hey, in this video, I'm going to pay tribute to your driver 2 with Toyota. I got my Kyle Busch sweep set, the 2017, right back there to honor you and your driver. So, Matthew, what are some quick emotions you're going over before we go over all the details of what happened earlier this week?
This is all happening so fast. I mean, it's been a day basically, and man, it's real. I cannot wait to get into this, but this will take some getting used to. That's for sure. It's gonna take a while to process this through, especially when we get to Phoenix. Either my driver will be in the championship 4 or not. Doesn't really matter, but it's gonna be one interesting weekend. Last race for M&M's, and last race with the 18 car with Gibbs Racing for him. So there's gonna be a lot of lasts coming to Phoenix this year.
Alright, so this is all we're going to talk about this video. We're not going to talk about Bristol. We're not going to talk about the schedule. We're going to talk fully about this announcement because there's so much to unpack. So I'm going to try to go through as much of the details as I can and give my quick opinion on it. But this show is obviously about Matthew. He is the Kyle Busch fan, so I want to get his insight here as well. But I'm going to break this down as quick as I can. So Kyle Busch will be driving the number 8 car for Richard Childress Racing starting next season. Is going to be a multi-year deal. How the whole announcement went, Kyle Busch was at the Hall of Fame. He walked up, he gave a quick little monologue speech thanking, Toyota, his family, all of that stuff, and then he announced where he'll be driving next season. He did the LeBron James reference, I'll be taking my talents to Welcome, North Carolina. I liked that. I saw a lot of that stuff on Twitter. People were like, he better do this. So he did do that, so that was pretty cool. And then he announced, obviously, Richard Childress is the new boss. He came up there, and Richard Childress, he actually had, he did the hold my watch reference, but if you guys don't know what that is, Kyle Busch and Richard Childress got into a physical altercation like 10 years ago, and apparently Richard Childress told Austin Dillon to hold his watch or something. So Richard Childress actually gave Kyle a brand new Rolex for his sign-on bonus. And then he had Brexton and Samantha come up on the stage as well, and he gave Brexton a contract to possibly race for Richard Childress Racing someday. So that was pretty cool. Probably the youngest person ever to get a physical racing contract in front of him. So I thought that was really cool that he included Brexton in on it. So apparently how all this came together is that the person who set this meeting up was Austin Dillon, Richard Childress' grandson. Apparently, as soon as Tyler Reddick announced that he was going to 2311 in 2024, Austin Dillon was like, hey, we have to go after Kyle Busch. He's the best free agent out there, and that's what ended up happening. And when Austin was asked why he did this, apparently Kyle Busch actually offered Austin Dillon a Xfinity ride back when Kyle Busch had an Xfinity team. So Austin Dillon, he always thought of that, always remembered that, always admired that about Kyle, so that's why he gave Kyle a call and was like, hey, you interested in come racing for us, all that kind of stuff. As for official details, there was no sponsorship announced just yet, along with no major announcements regarding Kyle Busch Motorsports. They are expected to run Chevrolets, Kyle Busch Motorsports is, but not sure how many trucks Kyle will be running, not sure if the drivers that will be behind the wheel, because all of his current drivers are signed under Toyota contracts, so he'll have to find brand new drivers and all of that kind of stuff. So no details about KBM just yet, but he does intend to compete in the Truck Series next year with Chevrolets. Something else, Kyle Busch does not have any type of business stake or ownership in Richard Childress Racing. He is just strictly driving for them. It's not a Brad Keselowski deal where, Brad Keselowski has stake in Roush Fenway, but Kyle Busch does not have anything regarding with Richard Childress Racing. Tyler Reddick, he will remain at RCR next season. As of now, 2311, could potentially buy out his contract depending on if Kurt Busch returns or not, but as of today, Tyler Reddick will race for Richard Childress Racing next season in not specified number just yet. And speaking of that, Kyle Busch will obviously take over the 8 car, so he'll have the 8 crew, he'll have the 8 crew chief, and all of that stuff. I think that's a great move for them to go ahead and put Kyle in the number 8 car, because that's going to be their brand. Kyle's going to be in the 8 car for a while, so go ahead and put him in that car now and establish it, and push Tyler Reddick off to the side and have the potential 3rd car team just kind of thrown together. And apparently part of his contract includes that Kyle Busch can run the Indy 500 if he so wants to, and he did say ask any Chevy teams to hit him up, if he wants to do the Indy 500, so that is possible. Joe Gibbs would not let him do that in the past, so that's a good little perk for Kyle. And now it's time for my opinion. Was this the right decision for Kyle Busch? Was it a mistake for Joe Gibbs Racing? Did they even really try to get him a sponsor? So I'm going to start this off with Joe Gibbs Racing. So, obviously this whole came up summer 2021. M&M says, we're not going to be back after 2022. So obviously Joe Gibbs Racing, they start to look for sponsors. And I think they genuinely tried to find a sponsor for Kyle Busch up until like April, May, June. Then, the whole thing with Kurt Busch happened. He got injured. Ty Gibbs replaces him. He's looking really strong. Kyle Busch wouldn't really negotiate with price that much. He was pretty firm on his asking price. And I think that's kind of where Joe Gibbs Racing pretty much stopped trying. And then a few weeks ago, I think that they retracted that offer from Kyle Busch because I heard that, Toyota, his best option was 2311. Joe Gibbs Racing wasn't even on the table anymore. So I think Joe Gibbs Racing, they tried up until probably about the early summer, and they were like, okay, yeah, that's it. We're gonna cut it off here. They did have that Oracle sponsor that almost signed with them, but that didn't happen. And was it a mistake for Joe Gibbs Racing? I don't think so. Everybody's saying it's a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake to let Kyle Busch go. Yes, I know he's one of the hottest talents out there, the only multi-time champion in the field. But if you sacrifice that, you have Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., 2 veterans. You have Christopher Bell, and arguably Ty Gibbs, who is talented and capable of driving that car. And in a few years, I think he'll be capable to win a championship for much less asking of a price than Kyle Busch. So I don't think it was a mistake for Joe Gibbs Racing. And as for Kyle Busch, was it the right decision for him? Obviously, I think Joe Gibbs Racing was his best option as far as competitiveness, but I think this was his next best option, at least right now, because, Colleague, they have a good program, but they're not ready to compete for wins and championships right now. Stewart Haas Racing, kind of the same page. Kevin Harvick is their best driver, and he went almost all season without a win. I know he got back-to-back ones, but I think RCR is the best equipment place that he could have landed. So I think this is a great decision for Kyle Busch. Gives him the opportunity to start fresh. He repaired some things with Richard Childress in the past. He's ready to move on to the future, and I think he can compete for some wins next year. Maybe not a championship, but he can definitely win 1, 2, 3 races next season. So I think it was the best possible move for Kyle Busch right now. But yeah, expectations will this work? Yes, I think this will work. I know Kyle Busch and Richard Childress are both kind of hot-headed drivers, but I think Kyle has matured a lot over the past few years, and obviously with him having his own team and everything, I think he'll be able to contribute to RCR without, if he gets mad, I don't think he's going to go take it out on Richard Childress and give him his watch back and say, hold my watch, and beat him up or anything like that. So, yeah, I think it will work. Obviously, there'll be bumps in the road, but I think it'll be a great merger between the two of them to start fresh. And expectations for Kyle, like I said, I think he can win between 1 and 3 races next season. So
Well, alright. Where do I begin with this? I think I'll begin with this right here. I've been a fan of NASCAR since I was 7 years old. I got into racing back in 2007. I became a Kyle Busch fan when he basically joined Gibbs Racing in 2008. So pretty much my whole life as a NASCAR fan, Kyle Busch has been in the number 18 M&M's Toyota Camry. And it's been like that for 15 years. I mean, we have people that have been with a team for 20 years and retire with that team, like Jeff Gordon or Jimmy Johnson. And then we have, unfortunately, drivers that have to move to another team every 3-4 years. And, for Kyle Busch, I will feel blessed to be able to stay with a team for 15 years. Not a lot of drivers have that on their resume. And only the best of the best do, actually. And even some of the best have moved to different teams frequently. So, I mean, it was amazing. It was an amazing ride. 15 years. It's a long time, and especially this summer, I was starting to prepare myself. Like, he's probably not gonna be back in this 18 car. The later on the summer get, because of course when M&M's said they were gonna leave, which I'm gonna have a hard time for eating M&M's anytime soon for that move. I thought, in the beginning of the season, I'm like, they'll find a sponsor. I mean, it should be no problem at all. And then May hit. I'm like, okay, they're just probably taking their time. And then the summer got in. It was like, well, something ain't right here. I don't think he's coming back now. And now here we are. He's going to Richard Childress Racing, one of the most historic franchises in NASCAR. Of course, it was the home of my opinion, the greatest driver of all time, and Dale Earnhardt, who won 7 championships, 76 Cup wins. Unfortunately, he passed away, so who knows how many races he would have won if he didn't, pass away. But and I mean, this is going. I think this is the best option, like Jimmy said. In the free agent market. I know they had Stewart-Haas Racing, probably the 41 car, but I don't feel confident about Stewart-Haas Racing right now. I mean, I would have if it was like 2018 or 2019 or even 2020. But, I mean, recently they're just falling from an A team to a B team, basically, just like that. And they're a 4-car juggernaut. So, I mean, I don't think that would have been the best move. I mean, Kaulig Racing was actually my pick for Kyle Busch. I think it was mostly because, of long term. I mean, I feel like Kaulig Racing would have established, what he wanted with, his future after racing with his son. But it looked like RCR was able to pretty much get what Kyle Busch wanted. Long-term stability and a future with his son. I mean, this was one of the coolest things, This is probably one of the coolest things Kyle Busch has seen. His new owner, Richard Childress, basically gave his son a contract. I mean, talk about going to school for show and tell. Like, hey, I got a NASCAR contract for 2030 something. I mean, that's huge respect right there for Childress for that one. That was a cool moment, especially for the family side of things. And first, okay, let's just get out of the way first. Can we see the drip that this man Kyle Busch had on during that press conference? I mean, that man had the fresh suit on. He got his 2 rings on. I mean, those rings were shining through the camera right there. It was blinding me during that. And also that brand new Rolex. Whoo, man. I mean, that man was dripped out for this meeting. So, applause to Kyle right there. He's not really known for having the best fits sometimes compared to other drivers. But anyways, back to this subject. And that was also funny. The whole hold my watch thing right off the bat. So that was clever right there. And I do have to give some respect to Austin Dillon. I mean, I've been hard on him in the past for being basically the most mid driver in the Cup Series. And even though he's going to be my future teammate here, I'm still going to think he's kind of mid. That's just my opinion. Unless, he proves me wrong and wins like 3 races next year because Kyle Busch is his teammate. But I do have respect for him now, especially with him recruiting Kyle Busch. I mean, I thought the whole time was just, hey, Kyle Busch was just looking at Richard Childress, as the option. But apparently Austin Dillon was the one that called him. I mean, he basically wanted him to be in Richard Childress, and I do have to give respect to that. So, respect to Austin Dillon. I hope he does better now. Kyle Busch will be his teammate. If both cars are running well, then that's great for RCR. And I do want to talk about Tyler Reddick right here. I am happy that he's staying with RCR. I would hate to see him get dropped out, in my opinion, and that would have been super awkward between Kyle Busch and Reddick. I mean, it probably will still be awkward next year because Kyle Busch is basically getting Reddick's team here. Tyler Reddick might be getting scraps basically next year, so he's probably might not be as good as he is right now. But I am glad though they're going to be teammates for at least 1 year because I think Tyler Reddick is almost like Larson with the talent. I mean, not quite like Larson, but close enough in my opinion. And I think Kyle Busch and Reddick can, learn some stuff together there with their talents. So, here's another benefit and Kyle Busch is back in the Chevy. I mean, he was in the Chevy with his first couple years with Hendrick Motorsports, and now he's back. So, what do you know? Jimmy and I are officially Chevy teammates now. Yay. Never thought this day would ever come. It will take some getting used to as well. And hey, there's a benefit to it. On super speedway racing, we don't have to worry about having less cars of a manufacturer, especially green flag pit stops. Those were always so bad, especially during the Daytona 500. There'll be Toyotas are only like 6 Toyotas. And that would be absolute disadvantage there. So it's nice to be in a manufacturer when there's going to be a lot more Chevys. And I think, who knows, maybe this is all I need to take for Kyle Busch to win Daytona 500. Just go to a Chevy. I mean, the last time a Chevy won the Daytona 500 was an RCR car. I mean, there's some lining right here. But, yeah, this is and also for sponsorship, we don't know yet. I'm assuming Tyler Reddick sponsors are going to go with that third car. I think some of his Childress sponsors and some of his Reddick sponsors, like that weed sponsor, whatever that thing is called, I think that's Reddick's sponsor. I think because you don't see an Austin Dillon's car anywhere, so I believe that's Reddick's sponsor, which he can have. I don't want that being Kyle Busch's sponsor. You could go from the candy man to the weed man, basically. I mean, people would not take me seriously if I'm wearing that hat around public. People would not take me seriously. So, Reddick, you can have that. But it sounds like they've had sponsorship lined up and they're just waiting on final approvals and stuff like that. There was a tweet a couple weeks ago when Kyle Busch tweeted like an apple emoji, and everyone was like, wait, is Apple going to be the sponsor for Kyle Busch here? I mean, I doubt it, but that would be crazy if that came true. I mean, hey, nothing's impossible in NASCAR these days, but yeah, we'll be waiting on that. Man, it's just a lot to unpack here. And also KBM will be Chevys, of course. It will be sad not having John Hunter Nemechek or Chandler Smith in the program. I mean, they've been so amazing for KBM. I mean, especially after the past couple of years, like 2020, 2019, they had some duds, basically. And a couple of drivers that barely didn't even do anything in a KBM truck, and Chandler Smith and John Nemechek have done a lot of success already. So, and they're probably both going to be in the championship for this year in the Phoenix. So, I'm definitely gonna miss those two. Who knows who's gonna be in the KBM trucks next year? Maybe Raja Karuth, or there's that other guy in ARCA. His first name is Nick, but I don't know his last name. I don't watch ARCA that much, so forgive me. I mean, they're both in Chevys. They could be a KBM drivers, maybe. I guess we'll see there. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all we learned so far. I mean, it's nice to know that Kyle Busch we already know who's going to be the crew chief. I mean, I think he's a really great crew chief just for what I'm seeing this year with Tyler Reddick. So I think they got something good here. And, yep, I'm going to be at the Daytona 500 next year, so I will be seeing the first race of Kyle Busch in a different car. So it's going to be interesting when I'm there at the 500. I feel like I'm going to be looking at the 18 car accidentally. But, and Ty Gibbs will probably be in that car. No surprise. Well, I guess we'll see in a few weeks. But, I mean, I don't have any animosity towards Joe Gibbs Racing for this. I mean, I feel like, though, they basically gave up on the only multiple-time champion in NASCAR. I mean, that kind of stinks there. I mean, this would have been like a couple years ago. I mean, what would have happened? Jimmy Johnson, with Lowe's leaving, like, oh man, we can't find a sponsor for you, and you're too expensive because you're a 7-time champion. You're going to have to find another team. I mean, that would have everyone would have lost their mind, and that happened. So that's really baffling for me. I mean, that the only multiple-time champion in the field just gets let go by Joe Gibbs Racing. I mean, they were given almost a year, basically, to get ready for this, and they gave up, basically. So, that stinks, but, I don't have any animosity. I mean, Kyle Busch gave him 15 amazing years with championships, with so many wins in all three series. So I'm thankful for that opportunity. I mean, I'm thankful to be able to witness that, basically. And I wish him the best of luck. I mean, Ty Gibbs as I've said a million times, he is the future of NASCAR. So I'm looking forward to see how he does next year in the 18 car. I mean, Ty Gibbs basically grew up his whole life seeing Kyle Busch in an 18 car. Now he's going to be driving. So, wish him the best of luck. And, yeah, I'm going to enjoy these last 7 races. How many races there are left. Even if Kyle Busch is not in the championship or he is, I'm just going to enjoy these last 7 races because these are going to be the last memories of Kyle Busch and the M&Ms. In the 18 Toyota. So, yep. That's, I think I've said everything I needed to say. And, yeah. Rowdy Nation, you better get used to it. And I hope you're not one of those fans that are like, he can't be my favorite driver anymore. I just don't see him being good in the RCR. Nah, you're not a real fan if you do that. You gotta stick with your man. You gotta stick with your driver no matter where he goes. I mean, you didn't see a bunch of Kevin Harvick fans leaving because he went to a Ford or went to Stewart-Haas Racing instead of RCR. So be loyal. Don't be one of those fake fans. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, I think I saw a tweet somewhere about like Kyle Busch's stats while he was at Joe Gibbs Racing, and he was, for those 15 years, I think he was like first in wins. Obviously, the 2 championships. He had like most top 5s, most laps led. He was first in like almost every statistical category. It was like 5 or 6 different categories, and he was first. So Kyle Busch definitely had a very dominant tenure there at Joe Gibbs Racing. Multiple like 5, 6, 7 win seasons, 2 championships. So yeah, it is frustrating and confusing how this deal didn't get put together, since it's been basically a year up to this point for them to find a new sponsor, and for them to just not connect the dots is baffling. But yeah, so to wrap this video up, I'm going to toss it right back to Matthew, and he's going to give you guys some of his favorite moments that he's seen from Kyle Busch while he's at Gibbs Racing. So Matthew, go ahead and tell everybody a few of your favorite moments before we wrap the video up.
All right. Well, this should be like the easiest question I get asked here. Of course, I gotta start off with the 2 championships right here. I don't have no particular order which one was better. I mean, 2015, coming back from a broken leg, broken foot, even though he missed races, that's still absolutely impressive. I mean, come back from an injury like that when you break basically both your legs and feet, I mean, you wouldn't think they'll be like 100% for the championship, but he was able to, so that's a special moment. Of course, 2019, he was able to win the championship and finally, shut up those people like, oh, you won a championship with partial schedule. Well, you won the full season, so that was the satisfaction of the 2019 one. And then, of course, you gotta have the 200th win, Fontana, winning his 200th race in all 3 series. Of course, no one could beat Richard Petty's 200 Cup wins. I mean, that's just not possible these days. But just getting 200 wins in all 3 series combined is still, you gotta be really good. I mean, of course, Xfinity is easy, apparently, even though I argue back in like the early 2000s, there were so many Cup guys in the field. I mean, you had to beat still. So, yeah, 200 wins. That's one of the best moments. 2018 Chicagoland, one of the best finishes in NASCAR history. The slide job for Kyle Larson. I mean, that's up there, especially with the red, white, and blue Skittles car. Alright, let's see. I gotta go this side now. Of course, you're gonna have the Bristol sweeps. That's one of the best moments as well. I got 2017. Of course, he's done it twice. Still the only driver to do so. That's one of the best moments there. Of course, 2008 Atlanta win. The first driver to win at a Toyota, basically. The first international manufacturer since 1954 when he won that. So that was a special moment. Let's see. I'll throw in one more. His 2013 Wilkins Glen Win. The reason why that one was special to me because that was on my birthday. He won on my birthday, basically. And also gave pretty much one of his most iconic burnouts he's ever done when he had half of his body basically out of the car while the car was still moving. So that one's a personal favorite for me. So, yep, that's some of the best moments in this JGR timeline.
I'm sure you loved being able to show off a bunch of your Kyle Busch diecasts to the fans. So, I want you to be happy. This is a very crazy time for your driver, so I want you to be able to do what you can, enjoy these last few weeks while he drives number 18 car. And I wish you and him the best the rest of this championship season, whether he gets the championship 4 or not. Hopefully he gets back to victory lane at least one more time before he wraps it up at Gibbs Racing. But that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for this video. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know in the comments what you think of this announcement. Was it the right decision for Kyle Busch? Should he have went somewhere else? What is going to happen with KBM? Is he going to run the Indy 500? All those different things. Make sure you guys let us know down below. But until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.